What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to be going over the points that people like to make about lengthened partials and why lengthened partials are apparently not that great and why we shouldn't do them and why full range of motion is better. And I'm going to show you guys why those people are, as the title states, stupid. All right, I'm just telling you right now. This is what this video is about. It's about addressing these ridiculous points that I hear over and over on forums, Discord servers, Reddit. I don't even use Reddit. I just go on the servers and the forums and I just see people claiming shit like that. But yeah, these are the things I hear. Number one, people like to claim that lengthened partials don't work because the studies are done on beginners. And because beginners make better gains with lengthened partials, that disproves lengthened partials. Okay? So, because they make better gains, that means lengthened partials are worse for advanced people. What a reach! Like, I'm sure you can see why this is a reach, right? So, it works better for them, so it must work worse for you. What is you? Is that an intermediate lifter? Is that a lifter who's been lifting for 1 year? Is that a lifter who's been lifting for 5 years, 10 years? What does that mean? So it only works on people who've only been lifting for like a few months or a few weeks. And it doesn't work for anybody else. Either it doesn't work well or it doesn't work at all. This is their argument. Do I do I even have to say anything? Boy. And these are real arguments. These are real legitimate arguments that you will see people make. I'm not even going to address that because it's going to kill my brain cells to break down why that doesn't make sense. And an extension of that is that they're going to claim that lengthened partials are not well studied, the studies are too short, and that also means that they aren't legit. All right, let's talk about that. As far as I'm aware, there are around 10 studies comparing lengthened partials to full range of motion. Now, there could be a few less, there could be a few more, there might be a few less than 10, but it doesn't matter. They're around 10. And every single study, every single study has found that lengthened partials are either better or equal. I think one study found them to be equal. Of all those studies, one. And all the other studies, better. Like, you see? So that's their argument against lengthened partials. There are too few studies and all of them support lengthened partials. Therefore, lengthened partials don't work. Okay? So 10 studies, which is like a lot for exercise science, which barely studies anything well, and every study is questionable. By what metric in exercise science are lengthened partials not studied well enough? They're studied well enough for this field to be making claims. 10 studies in exercise science that all say the same exact thing is a lot. Because exercise science studies can say everything. Oh, this bulk didn't add muscle versus maintenance. This bulk barely added muscle during 8 weeks or 12 weeks. This study did provide significant muscle from bulking. You see, there are studies like that all the time. Studies that show, well, opposite outcomes sometimes. Have you guys ever seen a study that shows negative outcomes from lengthened partials, inferior outcomes from lengthened partials? I haven't. I haven't. So that's the first point that people like to make. Second point, people like to claim lengthened partials don't work because stretch-mediated hypertrophy requires the lengthening of sarcomeres beyond their natural range of motion, beyond their natural length, blah, 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 and because there's no proof that a lot of muscle groups can even elicit stretch-mediated hypertrophy, that discredits lengthened partials. Okay, now we're getting into theoreticals. But even this one doesn't hold water because you guys realize lengthened partial studies aren't looking at stretch-mediated hypertrophy. Lengthened partial studies are looking at hypertrophy, basic hypertrophy. That's it. They aren't differentiating sarcomeres. They aren't differentiating versus parallel versus in series. They aren't differentiating sarcoplasmic versus myofibrillar. They are looking for hypertrophy. MCSA, muscle cross-sectional area. That's what they're looking at. So those studies and stretch-mediated hypertrophy, which is what Chris Beardsley and Paul Carter like to talk about all the time, that's neither here nor there. All right, we're over here. That's neither here nor there. And to, talk about that a little bit further, stretch-mediated hypertrophy can mean more than one thing. It can mean what I just said, stretching the sarcomeres beyond their natural length, blah, blah, blah. But, and this is something that you will see experts with the title doctor to the left of their name saying or using the phrase stretch-mediated hypertrophy in the context of hypertrophy that has, now this could be surprising and hard to grasp, but hypertrophy that was mediated, which means caused, elicited by stretch. Okay, they're using that definition of stretch-mediated hypertrophy. These guys are using that definition of stretch-mediated hypertrophy. You can get pedantic and claim that it doesn't, lengthened partials don't study stretching particularly well, which they don't. But that's neither here nor there. It doesn't disprove lengthened partials. Lengthened partials still show superior outcomes in studies, which means stretch-mediated hypertrophy or not, that they're doing something superior. So look for another mechanism. Look for another reason to try to discredit lengthened partials other than that. Okay, number 3. This is something that I heard today, actually. This is one of those things that even motivated me to make this video. There are people who claim, and bear with me, there are people who claim that lengthened partials don't work because you're overcomplicating it, bro. Lengthened partials are too complicated, bro. Just do full ROM, bro. Okay, I'm gonna address this. Okay, so you see this? You see this position right here? This is the start of a shoulder press. This is the end point of a shoulder press. Are you paying attention? Now this is a lengthened partial. You see this? Look. Whoop. Whoop. Full range. Whoop. Lengthened partial. Whoop. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are wondering, what's so complicated about this versus this? You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? So you're claiming that moving a bar less distance, the same vector, the same angle, but moving it less distance is overcomplicating things? You think it's overcomplicating things to do things the exact same way but less. Oh boy. These are some of the arguments that people make And they mean this shit. These are real arguments. Alright, I'm gonna try to steel man that a bit. A lot of lengthened stuff requires good proprioception of the muscles to know what muscles you're targeting. Okay? Full range of motion is just A to B, A to B. Lengthened partials are A to B, but if you don't know what muscle you're targeting, it can look a little bit ridiculous. Maybe there's truth to that. But if we're going to be completely honest, why are beginners in studies doing lengthened partials and getting better results? In studies, beginners, untrained people, untrained, better results. Was it too complicated for those people? Was it too complicated for them? The beginners who made superior results in studies that you guys try to discredit because they're on beginners? So it's too complicated for beginners, even though beginners are the ones who get superior results. And if you're advanced, then it's definitely not too complicated because you know how to connect to your muscles. Doesn't this argument contradict the original argument against beginners? Doesn't it discredit that argument that beginners shouldn't do lengthened partials at all because it's too complicated? Which is it? Which is it? I don't know. If you want me to argue that it's too complicated, look. People struggle to do normal lifts with normal range of motion. Forget lengthened partials. They don't know how to do normal range of motion with normal technique. So I guess normal range of motion and normal technique is too complicated because a lot of people are just incapable of it. Does that argument hold water? Does that prove that full range of motion doesn't work? It's too complicated. We should just do partial reps like this, right? Shoulder press like that. And this is what people do. People actually do this stupid shit where they just do this. Oh, this is too dangerous, bro. I'm gonna hurt my shoulder. I'm gonna hurt my rotator cuff, my AC joint, whatever. And now we're extending that to lengthened partials. Really, guys? Really? And finally, this is not even an argument. They just say, just do full range of motion, bro. Just do this, bro. Just do this. This is called gatekeeping. Now, I'm a little bit too old to be gatekept, whatever you want to call it, by people who have no experience, who have no critical thinking skills, who have nothing of value to offer, who just run their mouths. So I'm probably not going to take their advice. Just do full ROM. And they're the last people to tell me to do full ROM because people who know me, who've watched me over the years, they would laugh at that statement. I've done more full ROM than any of these people will ever do in their entire lives. You guys can watch my old videos. I've done it all. I've done full ROM. I've done just acceptable ROM. I've done partial ROM. I've done everything. And I'm telling you right now, this full ROM versus lengthened partials, at best, to be fair, it's not a big difference either way. But the people who argue against lengthened partials are just ridiculous. They have no argument. If I want to argue, I could say it doesn't matter, bro. It's gonna get you the same results either way. Therefore, just do the one that you like. But these people just say, "Oh, just do full ROM." That's not an argument. That's gatekeeping. And it's usually the powerlifter types who do that shit because they follow the stupid sport with stupid rules and stupid lives. And they train stupidly. And they promote stupid things. And also a lot of the people who diss lengthened partials are just stupid. That's all I have to say on it today, guys. I hope this has been a good rant for you guys because it's been a good rant for me. I finally got to talk about some of the ridiculous fucking things people say. What? Just do full ROM, bro. It's too complicated. It's too complicated to move your arm like this versus like this. It's too much. You have to be Einstein to fucking do it. Give me a fucking break.